The phone needed a little charge, and I told you there was something going on with the video. It was just a weak signal at the time because the phone needed charging, and my wife wanted individuals to know there's a chick, somewhere on this land that's putting black soil that's gonna cause tar. This is not a place of tar. This is a place of only consecration and concrete could go on this land. It can't have tar because one, it'll draw the wrong type of intention and you end up killing black people. If you put tar here, black people will die. And then on top of it, you'll automatically kill white people. So you automatically be wrong, and you don't want to outrage other people. You don't want to outrage other people in other social economic systems from other third world countries because let me tell you something. There's somebody that's probably I see when I was coming here back home that there was individuals putting um, a form of it's like hay or straw a certain type of way, but it's like a blondish color. It's a literal like a light blondish color, and it's supposed to be grinded down for nourishment for white people, Asian people, and Caucasian people of this social economic system. This is all over the world, but for this particular social economic system to strengthen the anatomy of individuals of this social economic system. And also, I own all the continents, so I'm supposed to make sure I go around the world and do this. And then I'm supposed to put some other supplements with it for the strengthening of individuals' humane humane existence for their humanity. But I don't do things like that unless my wife is around a certain type of way with me, just in case something happens that I'm comforted a certain type of way for both of our physicals because they're the continuance of the empress and stuff. So but we have to be in a form of a habitation a certain type of way together in sacredcy. So I'm gonna be real. There's some chick probably out here that I think you know. Let me show you something. You have black people that's being framed because they're putting dark soil around um, around the field because around this time during the winter it's supposed to dry up, so it could be measured out. And uh, how can I say this? To be to be to be portioned for individuals in different social economic systems of this social economic system. And by having the black soil is causing black people to be incarcerated because this is a high this is a land a high peak of reality in life where I'm at a certain type of way. So you don't want black people to be incarcerated in a jail that's far away from their social economic system that'll cause their deterioration. So, because certain black people in certain social economic systems, even especially in third world countries, are the sacred beings of the certain nature lands of the astrological empress, and they're not meant to be misplaced outside of their social economic system because the real nourishment to their strength is in their social economic system, and they're certain black people, brown, they're really black skinned people, but somewhat dark brown skin, but also a real dark brown skin. But then you have the real, the real regard of certain nature sacredcy that's real dark and black, and they're not supposed to be. You're not supposed to have certain soil transported to other social economics because if you cause their misplacement, there's no regard in a case of emergency if something happens to the anatomy of white people. If white people get sick, there's no regard for for um for their return because it's only certain people that is the real regard of the depth of the sacredcy of the land. And at times they cherish. There's certain black people. I don't say this a lot because I usually talk down to them because the choices that they made that caused them to be like that. But some of them made sacred choices, and they're different from everybody else. But nobody would ever know because I can't explain it to you. But anyway, and something happens, they're usually the ones that side is a case of a dark age because they know what it is really, what life is really about, and they side and they war just to make sure that the anatomy returns of the physical reality. White people get sick and they just fade out and die because sometimes they don't follow their natural regimen. So you have individuals that made an oath of secrecy to the empresses of the natural nurturement of the land that they would die before they lose their form of consciousness. So they rather murder anybody that would deteriorate their reality of the empress and before they would lose their consciousness and literally revive their higher consciousness at a point. So it was only certain black people, a very few majority, that did this. Other people is a little different because the things that they did in a paradigm to be a dark anatomy was dishonoring the empress, but you had those that knew how real it was that kept their secrecy all the way to a brutal, traumatic reality had been upon them at a time caused by a star being probably using a lethal weapon or a deadly form of kung fu or karate that try to disregard martial arts. So you got to be very careful with certain individuals and certain people of higher beings because if you misplace the soil, a certain type of a soil, you'll be misplacing a certain amount of black people, and there'll never be regard to the real points of secrecy where they're supposed to be. So you never move soil a certain point from a certain social economic system to another economic system in case of emergency. Consecration, when it comes to the elements, consecration like concrete is different. You're supposed to move it all over the place. But when it comes to the soil itself, that nurtures the human existence is something else. Because the consecration, like concrete, is natural regard. But if you remove the soil, that is the depth of the real nourishment a certain type of way, that enlighten that also in the cases of a certain emergencies that confuse the enlightenment of an individual to be able to refine and bring back the anatomy of the higher enlightenment. Now, if a person doesn't know this, because I'm learning a lot, so I'll tell you, I'm a man of honesty. If a person doesn't know this is how real it is. And then I was so sacred with my wife that I literally humbled my features because I don't know Caucasian Asian man. So I humbled my features to even be amongst the individuals of secrecy if something happened in case of emergency. If I went around and I just started seeing something was wrong with certain people, certain ways. I mean, I don't travel with people. The only time I travel with my sons or my children is only when they're precise to their social economic dietary habits. So if they're not precise with their dietary habits, I don't move. I don't move with any form of platoon or any form of situations or any form of special regard of any individuals unless they precise with their dietary habit. If they're not precise and they don't know the dietary habit and what they need for themselves, for their habitation, I don't move with them. I usually move by myself. The only reason why I do this also because I am the real man that made all existence. So I even had to humble my reality just to be able to survive amongst people because um, when you really know what I look like, I'm extremely handsome. I'm very I'm beyond fair. I mean, beyond the fairest of the sexiest handsome that you'll ever see in your life, but it's intimidating even to Caucasian and Asian people because I'm a real Caucasian Asian man. But it's also intimidating because my aurora and my harmonical glow is more a certain type of way when you look at me and light a certain type of way and it's like I could blend into the light easily. But when I'm a Caucasian Asian man, it's kind of like it's like an ecstasy or orgasmic scene when you look at me, and then on top of it, it is kind of fearful because the I'm so handsome, it's so dominant
the way I look is so handsome, but it's dominant to the feminine gender, and is fearful to to the to the masculine males, because it's like a high quality of fierce sexual orgasmic dominance features I really have, because I'm the real man that really made it. Because I naturally look like what I'm telling you, but I had to humble my features. So I just walk around a certain way in fairness for individuals who won't feel uncomfortable. Like if I travel to like a purity of another planet, the other people won't be fearful, uncomfortable to my humane condition of my existence. And my wives are kind of skeptical when I look too sexy in the humane condition. My wives don't want me to be in some type of relationship or with a girl that'll really try to want to murder me just off the way I look, and they'll try to manipulate the reality even of the higher consciousness just to make sure that I'm captivated and that I don't go nowhere because of the fact is how handsome I am. So for that not to happen, I humbled my features. So this way I could be able to move amongst people in a case of emergency to save everybody's life. But it's funny because this when I was coming over here, there's some chick. It has to be a chick that's moving the soil. That means there's somebody going to other social economic systems that's probably going after an empress. And if this is a chick that's probably manipulating, causing the Ming's death. Now, let me explain something to you. One time I was with my wife, and my children were in the house. And my children, when I came home from work one day, this was a long time ago, I came home from work one day, and my child was like, yo, Dad, look in the mirror and argue with yourself. I looked at my child and said, listen, if I argue with myself, it'll cause your pain and hurt and your death. I don't want to cause confusion to the purity of myself, to what of myself, of my love, and then cause malicious intent towards you. I said, son, but don't ever tell me to do something like that again, because you know, listen, son, I'm I'm your past, I'm your present, I'm your future. I'm already older than any individual of this, any social existence. Now, if if you have a thought of, I form the reason of the existence of consciousness. I'm your real conscience. So if you have a thought of disregarding me, that's hurting your physical at a point in time in a physical reality. The energy and the force of your anatomy and your spirit is gonna watch you to make sure if this is what it knew that you did, and then cause a punishment, and at the point when as soon as it knows, it'll cause you detrimental, it'll cause you death, because it knows that you offended the reason of your consciousness. So it'll look at the energy of the light of the habitation and look at you that needs to survive, and then you might risk the habitation of existence, and there won't be no humane condition left, and then cause the end of its own is the reality of myself, and the reason that it could acknowledge the rest of the social education of equality of life, because it's the continuum of my emotions and the continuum of myself. So if you harm me, the energy already is a certain way where it's going to repel and retaliate even down to the natural anatomy of an individual. So I tell myself, don't ever tell me to argue with myself, because it'll be causing your pain. It's just like measuring what caused it at the time. So if you had that type of thought like 10 years ago, then you get to in 10 years going further into the future, you get to a point when you're actually around me. This is what the energy been waiting for, because it has to know if this is the reason why it's been receiving the certain receptive signals to hurt you a certain type of way. So if you're around me and then you happen to disregard me or disrespect me, it'll murder you from that moment right then and there. It'll cause your murder. So don't do nothing stupid. Like don't ever dishonor me. It's like having a girl in another room, and then she's supposed to be with me, and then you're having sex with her. The energy will let you go to the place as soon as the moment it sees you try to manipulate. It is already causing the situation. It's just how it's gonna happen. It can't risk my reality to how it's gonna discipline. Now, when my son told me this, I said, son, don't ever do that again because that's like hurting yourself. It's like I told you, it's like turning off the lights and then you want to see further, you got to turn on the lights. You'll hurt yourself ahead of time, and I'm ahead of your time. So I'm your past, I'm your present, I'm your future, I'm the reason. I was putting diapers on you, preparing your future before. So it's just like when I'm recovering, I recovered in purity for the I recovered in purity for the atmosphere and the elements could be able to survive to go to the future. Now I had to educate my son when it came to this, and I told my son, I had my other wife, she used to take care of my other children, so I had one son that he used to he used to want to cause confusion between me and my other son that I was staying with in my other household with my wife that he used to reside with us at the time. But he used to cause confusion because he knew my wife that was the real empress, and then he favored her and he really liked her. But on top of it, he had his own empress, and his mother was an empress. So what he used to do, he used to make the brothers fight to cause confusion amongst them, and then try to cause confusion amongst me because that was the way of him controlling of my other son's empress, and then manipulating their reality and causing discipline in their death because he was a little older. And my other son that was older, like the other brothers of him that was older than him and older than the brothers that he was doing this to, had to was gonna end up disciplining one. So I had to stop it before it happened. I was like, hey, listen, I had to explain to him, don't cause no confusion because the energy is gonna look at you like an outcast to see what you're doing, and it's gonna cause your death, and it might be traumatic, and then your mother will be wanting vengeance for what happened to you because of your acknowledgement, and because the fact is your mother being a certain type of way, you didn't know who was older, and then you did something like that, and then he didn't know that all of them had an older brother also. So when he used to do that, it was just to get pussy and just to cause confusion for nobody would argue with him. So when I would come home, it would feel like a discomfort, and then they wouldn't want to listen, and then it would lead up to them getting physically hurt and getting him out the way. So he would be with this sister that he was not supposed to be, and then on top of it, he was causing uncomfortability for his mother. So when he used to cause confusion amongst my other sons, I used to be like, yo, listen, I can't listen to this guy a certain type of way. I didn't want to make him feel like an outcast because I was his real father, so he could be comfortable around me. That was the reason of his anatomy. But I used to have to settle the situation before it went too far because before my other sons got hurt and before my other older son caused a trauma to him that would be so detrimental that I didn't want his mother getting into the situation. So I had to learn how to explain it to him, like, don't cause confusion and then be the reason of your reality meeting. Because imagine if he meets a girl one day that he really likes, and he caused confusion in the purity of the anatomy of life, and then he comes into a girl of a certain purity, but he's not too. He'll be confused. He won't be too sure about the girl's anatomy when he's trying to strengthen his reason of his higher conscience of the mythical acknowledgement of his anatomy. So he could be able to have a good receptiveness of his resuscitation of the energy force of the purity. So if he causes a confusion in the physical when it comes to the anatomy, there'll be a point on his journey or path that he'll be a little confused and he won't be too sure about another person's anatomy, and the next it could cause his death or his corruptness of his physical and even of his conscience, because remember, your conscience controls your nervous system, that controls your natural operating bodily bowels of your natural habitation of your physical. So you got to be very careful of the type of acknowledgement a person has of the physical, because when you're on your journey, because remember, there's nothing new under the sun, and when one is doing the universal laws of attraction, one wants to be compatible with an individual a certain type of way. But if you're causing confusion in the anatomy, it's gonna offset it a certain type of way. So you don't wanna get caught. It's like getting caught. a person pull up on you real quick and be like, yo, don't get caught slipping, homeboy. And because if you do the wrong thing a certain type of way, you never know what'll happen to you. So if you already cause that confusion, the light already has to adjust to what you did, and it's gonna follow you a certain type of way. It's just like when I used to teach ancient martial arts. People had to fight off the forces of existence because the way I made existence was such a miracle, such on a high level. There was never ever a being ever. I was the first original. Yo, listen. I'm life. There was nothing I, beyond without even never knowing anything about a void. There was nothing. I'm not gonna tell you the real color of it. There was nothing. Not even light. I'm talking about. You see how light you have like here, like the color. There was not even light. Yo, there was nothing, man. I made it all. The first. Listen. The reason of breath, my nigga, the reason of the force of energy is really me, my nigga. You wouldn't believe, yo, my dude, if you knew how wonderful I am, you would cry every day. Just looking at me will make you cry. Because you would be able to, if you really see what I look like, you would wonder, why is this nigga so handsome and fit? Like, that is crazy, the nigga look like. It would make you cry because it would make perfect sense. Once you really see what I look like, it would make perfect sense to why I'm existing sometimes, my nigga. You don't want to get to a higher level and then look at me a certain way because you'll realize that I humbled my ability, my features, and it'll make you feel shameful and cry. It'll make you feel hurt because you'll know that I'm more than anybody in reality, and look at how I humbled myself in existence to even be amongst people. Literally, my nigga, you wouldn't even believe it. Yo, my nigga, a person doesn't want to cause confusion when it comes to their reality in life. So one has to know how to handle the situation when it comes to anatomy in life because it's like doing martial arts. It's like fighting. It's like a different reality that's is more optical and to Reiki. It's like a martial art. It's more detrimental than Reiki. This is a level that's beyond. It has a difference of the reason of existence because the force of existence has to identify. It can deteriorate perfection, so it has to deteriorate whatever causes the imperfection. So, because of me being the natural order of the physics, it can go against me. So, a person that's already tries to manipulate to be more than me is just like a savoring victory, a certain type of way, for the force of the energy of existence, and not my son energy because it's beyond even my son energy. Because my son energy is not even gonna know that. He can't know it. He won't be able to have. There's an education that will cause his irritation of his habitation, and then he will end up wanting to murder everybody after that. So that's something that he couldn't even learn because he's not the man for it. He had his own regimen that he had to live up to. Just like my wife is second in command, nobody's gonna surpass her on her level of her habitation when it comes to her social economics. So, there's a natural order even in existence. So it's just a person has to know how to fend off their habitation to their social being of their physical reality, of their metaphysics. So you gotta be careful to the things that a person does, even in the physical reality. There's a chick that's around here that's dropping certain type of soil, and it's causing confusion within the millions, and it's automatically going to the millions. It's causing individuals to probably causing the invasion of England also. I'm not gonna speak about it too much because I know what's going on. I'm feeling a little tired because I traveled all day. I've been out and I just came home. I just came home today, so I gotta get a little sleep. Oh, today's Saturday. It's Saturday too. I'm going to sleep. This is December 15th, 2018.
So how did so many obelisks end up in distant lands?
So in this is other things I'm telling you, because if you misplace the Empress sacredcy when it comes to her nature, you're my nigga. It's like aggravating her nerves. So you listen. What she'll do to an individual, she won't even tell an individual. She'll be like, "Oh my God, you over here?" It's like walking around like this all day, looking at you like, "Oh yeah, yeah, this motherfucker knew a lot. How this nigga end up here?" She gonna know that the star beings was out of place, that they were doing things they weren't supposed to. There's no even. That's like a sweet creep, the sweetest reason of a creep at the time. Like, oh my god, the way she gonna lash a nigga would be amazing. You know, it will make a glorious moment for a story for her. For real. You wouldn't even. I'm telling you, my wife honors her physics because she knew who I am, and she ain't getting a divorce to cause the end of her existence for stupidity. So it's like, it's like a beyond can't wait. It's like she would be doing finger push-ups all the time. Oh yeah, she said no. I can't even touch myself. It's how I'm amped. That's how amped she is. Oh, yeah. And you remember, the reason why I don't do iron body, golden body, or like pre-prime trance, like the transformer type situation, or Power Rangers, is like, I was so militant for such a long time, in a long time, um, points of existence for all existence, that when I used to touch my wives, I could make certain things happen on such a traumatic level or instant in their physical reality. I had to humble my emotions of my physical, not to be too much for somebody, because I'm already complete beyond my wife. So if I would hit somebody slightly, it would be like, you know, if I knocked them out, it would be like beyond the years that they could ever calculate that would be knocked out for. So, you know, I had to humble my physical, then I had to come back as a purely like a child, just to be able to be a form of, how could you say, a lukewarm, a lukewarm, where I could adjust to individuals' reality on a certain level without detrimentally fucking up their whole existence if they did the wrong thing. Because if they did the right thing, I'll be literally amplifying their existence to the glorious achievements in all reality, especially feminine chicks. So I had to literally humble my physical and not get too much into the physics with individuals, just to be able for individuals to survive a certain type of way for the future, because, you know, I'm the original man that made men. It was, everybody else would have made pussy. I was making so much girls, it was okay, but I was like, I'm gonna have me a son. There's no reason not that. Why not? You know, a man gotta know what it is to be a man. Right? So, that's why. Everybody else would have just, you know, it would have been over. But, you know, me, my wife used to look at me like, you setting me up or something? Like, nah, bitch. I'm just, you know, I'm just a real nigga, you know? Well, not a nigga, a real man. How can you say, a real elder man that know what it is with life, and doesn't, how can I say, I complete my wife by only make empresses when I really want to make them. And I literally make the empress, not, I don't give birth to her. I literally make the empress. I made a full body for and raise it. Like, she probably thinks she was a baby. You were never a baby. You were really prepped. And then some of my empresses were made at a certain age, so they think that they were just made to be okay. They weren't made to be like a child. They were made to be more than a real majesty. You hear? My wife is crying out. It sounds like a banshee. The wind is blowing so hard. It's going woo, like it's like a banshee or something. Like, or something. Well, there is a banshee that means it's out here somewhere. So then you have a parallel reality. You have a banshee, and then you have the real empress, and then it's like a form of Armageddon. So because the wind is blowing so hard, and plus we're at a high peak, we at a high peak, so you hear it? Papa, c'est moi, partisan relais. Maman, partisan relais. Qui est partisan relais? Si vous êtes des partisans, partisan relais. Qui est partisan relais? Bien, partisan relais. Bien, partisan. Yo, listen, my nigga, I love my sons, man, like that. Them niggas, you know, I can't even tell you the type of money I made in my life, my nigga. But right now, I'm about to go find out what's going on with my wife. Okay, I can't even put a jacket on right now. I gotta find out. I was about to show you. I coulda wrote to everything. I just thought I found my wife. I think it was my wife a 3-time trans. Or not even my wife a 3-time. I think it was an element empress. Something happened. And then she called out to me, and then on top of it, there's a banshee outside also. So that means somebody must have did something in some magical realm. But you see, look at the cat, look at the cat, look at the cat, look. Somebody must have did something in some magical realm, and then my wife was calling out to me, look, somebody over there watching me. Yo, I told you my wife is with me, my nigga. The moon, she was with me, my nigga. My wife, I'm here. See, I'm hearing it. I'm trying to find out where the hollering is coming from. See? She's blowing, it's like some Armageddon or something going down. Hold on. It's coming from somewhere over here, though. Here we go. You hear it? Y'all hear it, right? It stars out too, my nigga. So, what stars is it? This is the triple crown. The triple crown white Orion stars. This is not the Orion stars, these are the Orion stars. But they're out, and then I'm hearing this. What is that? But you wanna know what's so funny? I'm about to find out because since I heard the communication, you know, I'm the original hunter, so, you know, I would have been able to find my wife. So, okay, there's something going on a certain type of way. My wife, the moon is there. My other wife, you know, I told you my wife is with me, my nigga. You think it's a joke, my nigga? Huh? And then my sons are. Oh, it's not my son. These are my children. Let me get it. Let me be real with you. Them stars that you see in the sky are not sons. They're my children, my literal children, my nigga. I'm their real father. The dad, their real dad. My wife will tell you, my nigga. And I'm the dad. She'll break it down. Elements never lie, my nigga. Let me go back inside, my nigga. I was following what's going on. I don't know what to do with that. You know, that's something I have to look at in the morning. I'm not gonna be doing something like that. And that, as long as I know she'll tell me what I need to know. Oh, man. Huh? That means there's a banshee somewhere else. You know, I listened to that video. Listen, let me finish before I go back in my room. Let me finish telling you something, alright? The soil, what I was telling you, the soil, real secret and real physics in the same video, but the video had stopped. I had to come back inside, charge the phone, and put it back. But you know, it says resume for me to resume the video. So after I charged the phone and then turned on the phone, I came back outside. So just don't think it's like a cut and scene. It's just the phone stopped, and when it says resume, I resumed it, and then I found what the situation is. So if my children are around, they gotta check to see what's going on. Either that, or wait a minute, or it was some empress that's probably here. I remember I went to New York, so there was some empress probably came here, or some chick, or some empress that had children for me probably came here, and then she was sleeping with some next man. And then my wife probably wore a certain type of way, and then probably trapped in some electrical system, and she's trying to cry out to tell me something that I need to know. So it gotta be one of the two. So I know my wife would get away from the situation; she'll never get caught. So it gotta be some type of situation going on that my wife is trying to warn me about. If it is, it'll cry louder. And the thing is about this, while I watch the television, I'ma hear her. So either way, I'ma know what's going on. Yo, man, you know, I don't know why these cars driving around like that. You see? Oh, hold on. You see? The elements never lie, my nigga. It's something I gotta go find, my nigga, but yeah, I gotta go find something, but I ain't doing it yet, bro. See, my wife? There's something going on, my nigga. My wife wants to tell me something really important. I'm gonna figure it out. You know, but like I said, another person doesn't know element science, so I know what I'm speaking about. I know when the element is there taught element science. So. Hey, man, I'm about to go inside. We'll speak in the road, yeah. Love one, huh?